Hi there. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tato. That's what the T stands for, Life and Tea Abroad. This is it. We are here. Thank you for joining me today. I want to talk about homesickness, guys. I want to talk about homesickness. If that's something that you're going through, I mean, depending on what state of mind that you are in right now, I just wanted to offer this trigger warning. Like, I'm not here to be triggering anybody's emotions. I just want to talk about my own experience for a little bit, and that's in the hopes that maybe it helps somebody out there. But if you just take care of yourself, if you feel like it's not a topic that you would rather listen to right now, that's well and good. I just kind of want to come here and share a little bit from my perspective. First of all, let me put on my lipstick so I can look a little bit less pale, more human. I don't know. How do I look? So here's the thing with homesickness, right? I think that we kind of all know what homesickness is theoretically, and for me, I've lived abroad for a long time. That's why my channel name is Life and Tea Abroad, because I'm more abroad than I am at home. Just a quick backstory for those of you who might be new to my channel. Also, I am from Lesotho, the mountain kingdom of Lesotho, down south, right within South Africa. Beautiful place. But from the age of 17, I have been basically outside of Lesotho on and off. I studied in South Africa, and then I went to Germany. Then I came back home for a little bit, and then now I'm in Japan, right? And out of all these experiences of being away, people actually often asked me, you know, how many times can you go home per year? And for example, when I was in Germany, I had a nice and generous scholarship, thank God. And that allowed me to come home once a year, funded by the scholarship program. So that was really nice. But still, people would ask, you know, like, once a year is not a lot of times. You miss out on a lot of things that are happening at home. But I think at the time I was still just so excited about the idea of being outside and exploring a new place and culture that honestly, I can't say that I actually went through a season of feeling homesick. I can't say that, like, I don't think I did. Of course, there were moments in time where I would miss certain foods from home, or I would miss my family. You know, I would miss out on like family occasions. Some people's weddings I couldn't attend, some people's funerals I couldn't attend, just because, yeah, the financial constraints and the time issue and all of that, it just logistically wouldn't be feasible for me to attend all those things. So there's a bit of FOMO, but I don't regard that as homesickness. What I have experienced this year, though, for the first time in my life, in this big age of mine, is homesickness. So how is homesickness even described? So feeling homesick. Oh yeah, I'm also gonna have a snack. I'm going to have a banana. It's got minions on it. Okay, so feeling homesick for me, I think, and I guess according to the internet, is more than just a temporary feeling of missing home. And that's why I think up until this year, maybe I hadn't experienced homesickness at all. And so I could never speak to it whenever people asked me. I couldn't relate to people who had experienced it, because I could empathize, but I couldn't speak from lived experience, you know? But what I experienced this year, I was going through a very difficult time, an extremely difficult time. And when you're separated from home and loved ones, certain things hit you different, you know? Like, you can go through maybe turmoil, you can go through distress, but I think that when you're surrounded by people that love you and are familiar with you, I mean, of course, everybody's situation is different. I'm speaking here from the perspective of somebody that is close to their family and that sees their family as a positive support system. So when you're going through stuff and then you kind of start getting stressed and distressed over the fact that you are so far from home, and this feeling that things would be better if you were at home, things the weight of things would be lighter if you were at home. It starts to weigh on you psychologically, and then also can affect you physically as well. You know, like I actually got physically sick because I was homesick. I mean, that was not the whole thing, but that was certainly part of it. You know, getting headaches, getting chest pains, just suffering a lot. And it's debilitating because when you're in a certain position, you don't have the option to just wake up tomorrow morning and up and leave. There are things that need to be done first, processes that need to be followed. You cannot just hop on a plane tomorrow. Also, that would be very expensive. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of reflect on that a little bit and say, I think I finally understood what homesickness was and is this year through my own experience, through the things that have been happening. And it's tough, guys. It's tough. Like living abroad, I think sometimes it can be very glamorized, okay? And I say this as somebody who comes from a third world country. You know, we see people traveling, living in the UK, living in America. Everything looks so fancy. And of course, what we show on social media is also just the fancy parts. So I guess part of me making this video is to first acknowledge that, you know, it's not always rosy this side. So if you have friends who are living abroad, check on them. You know, they might not be open enough to just start sharing their problems or feelings or whatever they're going through readily. Just check on them and say, hey man, how are you doing? You know, we're seeing your status, you're here, you're there, that's great, but like, how are you actually doing? I would just urge you to do that. There's a certain comfort that comes from being home and being with family and friends who have known you for a long time and can support you in a different way than maybe some people who you just met. I don't know how to put it in a good way. Oh God, I don't know how I can put it in a good way. What I'm trying to say is that while I appreciate everybody who's been here and who's helped me through my struggles here, they know I appreciate them and I tell them in person too. But you still miss that sense of family, for sure. And that's something that can weigh hard on people, that I think sometimes when you've lived your whole life at home and you've never been abroad, or you've never had any struggle abroad that made you miss home in this way, you might not get it. But that's why I'm just saying, hey, if you are, you know, you're close to your parents, you're close to home, and you have friends who are far away from that reality, just check on them once in a while to find out how they are and support them, even if it's virtually. I promise you it's going to be highly appreciated. So yeah, I think that last but not least is the fact that, I mean, I kind of alluded to this in the beginning, but what people show on social media oftentimes does not reflect the full picture. And so when you look at people who are seemingly doing well, their life is glamorous or things are shiny, just remember that you're only seeing part of the story. It's a true part maybe, but it's only a part, it's only a fraction of that story. There are things that people don't document for audiences. There are issues people go through. There are conflicts, tensions. There are things we can't talk about for whatever reason, at least not on social media. So take that into consideration when you're looking at somebody else's life. I remember one time I posted a picture on Facebook and someone's comment on my picture was like, man, I want your life. And I responded and I said, you really don't. I said, you really don't. But at the same time, I understood why they said they wanted my life. Because what they were seeing is what I had curated at that moment, because that was the highlight of what was going on at that time. In the backstory was not that glamorous, you know? There's actually someone's there's a guy I know on Instagram, and his bio on Instagram, I think, is the most real thing there. It's something like, all these things you see here are highlight reels. The rest of my life is actually quite boring. I think I screen capped it one time and I tagged him in a story, and I was just like, yeah, this is so real. But yeah, just remember that all that glitters is not gold. Be kind to people. You don't know what others are going through. Check in on your friends. Homesickness is real, guys. Homesickness is real. It's not real because I experienced it. It's always been real. But now I can speak from my own experience how it was and how kind of to get through it, you know. So if you are somebody that is living away from home, comment in the comment section below. Let us know any tips, tricks, how you get yourself out of this debilitating state of homesickness. I think for me, one of the things that I found to work a lot is just talk frequently with the people at home, whether that's friends or family. Like, call more often. If you're used to calling home once a week, call 3 times a week. Just sometimes hearing people's voices and speaking your own language can really help. Number 2, if you're a believer, Christian, or whatever else faith you have, pray about it, and remember that you're not in this alone. Like, God is there with you, feeling the things you're feeling, you know. So remember that even though physically it looks like you're alone, but actually you're surrounded by God and his angels, and you are going to be okay, you know. So pray about it. And if it helps, if you're in a place where, you know, you have people from the same region as you, even if you're like an immigrant somewhere, but if there's a community that you can identify with, whether that's church, whether that's like a hobby thing, just finding time to be more with people, focusing on other things or focusing on other activities can help you to kind of lower that stress, because the moment you start spending more time alone in your thoughts, and you know, you start to, yeah, it's like a vicious cycle, you know. You just start to be in your feels, and it's tough to get out of that space. But if you have a community of people that you can relate to on one level or another, try your level best to make those meetings frequent. Be outside more, be with people who are like you more. And yeah, don't be ashamed to say, hey, I'm feeling really bad, I'm feeling like I'm homesick. Talk to people, and I swear there are some kind people in this world who will help you to get through those dark days that you might be going through. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be people from your country. Your friends from wherever they are in the world, they have probably experienced symptoms just like yours. And so what I've found is that the minute you share, you open up a sort of like a safe space for the other person to share their experience as well. Most of us are kind of going through life and holding things in, and you know, kind of we have this barrier and we just keep the smile, and that's normally how people go about life. But the minute you share something traumatic happened, or you have stress, or you have homesickness, the other person might be willing to share their own relevant story, which might help to uplift you in that moment. So yeah, this is not meant to be like depressing or anything. I'm just like sharing my experience with homesickness, and I would like it if you guys would share yours as well. Keep the comments friendly and helpful. If you have any tips, please do share them in the comment section about like homesickness and how to deal with that. Yeah, so this was it for today. Just my thoughts, just me, you know, having a moment with my thoughts and everything. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found this somewhat helpful. And for those people who've never lived away from home, just know that, you know, yeah, it's a balance. Sometimes it is fancy and glamorous. Other times it's just really tough to get through the day. So it is what it is. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you next week with another video. Bye bye.